What is up, Pyromaniacs? Pyrostasis is here. We are back in the world of EVE Online, sitting here in our pretty little pod, just floating in space, just chilling, just hanging out. You know, I'm curious how they get in here. I mean, like, I guess that's the seam, maybe right there. Huh? Kind of interesting, man. I don't know. I don't know if I'm getting into something that's pitch black. Of course, I guess if you have 100% sensory activation or sensory connection with the ship that you're getting into, I guess it makes sense. But still, kind of scary. Just being locked in there. The claustrophobia would possibly be real. I guess. I think I've heard that it's like a sensory deprivation device. So you're like floating in liquid, so you feel like you're weightless and you have infinite room, but. I don't know. Then again, I guess just because this looks small doesn't mean it's actually small. Do they actually give us the size of it? We've totally gotten sidetracked here. Volume is 1,000 meters cubed. Space taken up when placed in a bare container. That seems really fucking big. Because 1,000 meters cubed, there's no way. There's no way. That's like 300 feet by 300 feet, give or take. Now, of course, I know that's not accurate because some of you are gonna be like, actually, Pyro, that's not 100% accurate. It's actually more like 323.4 feet. You know, but I'm basically converting meters to feet, which is not an accurate comparison, but it's close. And then multiplying, 1,000 times 3. So that's 3,000. 300. No, that's 3,000, isn't it? 1,000 meters cubed. Yeah. Jesus Christ. That's even bigger. That is even bigger. Because, 1,000 times 3 is 3,000. Yeah. So that's 3,000 feet. No way, dude. This thing would be like the size of a fucking like Cowboy Stadium or something. So no, that can't be right. That's no. That's just yeah. I mean, in that instance, well, shit, you got some room there. I mean, okay, we've totally gotten sidetracked, and I apologize. Happens every once in a while. I'm getting old. Had a birthday yesterday. We're not gonna talk about it. All right, so I've made a new character here, and I'm doing some thinking. I'm doing some theory crafting out of the box. And I'm trying to decide some of the aspects of EVE that I want to touch on for the next, because when you get into EVE, EVE is unlike most other MMOs. In most other MMOs, the game gives you something to do. It gives you a goal, and WoW, it's hit 110 or 120 or 170, whatever level they're up to. It's do the quest line. It's get the starter gear so that you can do the dungeons, and then you do the dungeons so you can get the heroic gear to do the heroics, and then you do the heroics. Once you got the heroic gear, then you can do the basic raids, and you work your way up until you're doing mythical raids and mythical dungeons, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a very clear path in that game, Guild Wars 2, very similar. All the other MMOs out there for the most part, because I see more like 98% of the stuff on the market these days. Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, World of Warcraft, pretty much everything is a theme park. And what that basically means is think of it like a theme park. You go into a park, you ride the rides, and you do what you do, but you can't make your own ride. You can't go to Six Flags and be like, I think the Texas Giant is a piece of shit, and I'm going to build Pyro's Giant over here to the left. You can't do that for obvious reasons. So with I almost said Sand Park. With Sandbox games, which EVE is, you have very little guidance. Instead of there being systems like in World of Warcraft and all those games where, you go and you raid or you go and do this, you have no guidance. You can do whatever you want. Instead, they give you pieces, and those pieces can be put together to make something for you to ride on, or a ride, so to speak. And you make your own ride, but no one makes the ride for you. So it is very critical in Eve for you to kind of come up with like a 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year plan. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting into the game and just being like, all right, I'm just sitting here spinning. I don't know what to do, and that's, nobody wants that. So, my main character, Pyrostasis, has a lot of mining setups. He's actually a maxed Rorqual with maxed Orca, maxed support skills, and maxed Refinery. Not quite 100% maxed on Refinery. I think we're at about 80%, 89%, but I'm finishing up that right now. So mining is an aspect of this game that I do enjoy because it's laid back, it's relaxed, and there's a lot of money in it, and it doesn't require a whole lot of risk. A lot of other people hate it. I understand that, but for me, there's just something about chewing on a giant rock that I enjoy. So I'm looking at possibly dipping my feet into that. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be 100% of what I do, but it's going to be a portion of what I do. I'm also interested in wormhole space. I'm also interested in abyssal dead space. I'm also interested in PvP, blah, blah, blah. But looking at mining perspective, there's a lot of different ways that you can mine in this game. Some of them are safe, and for the most part, safe-ish, as safe as Eve gets in high sec. You've got low sec, which I don't think many people do because it's not worth it. And then you have 0-0. Now, I haven't looked at mining from a refining standpoint since I've come back because refineries and everything has changed. Back in the day, you used to be able to get Pyro had max refining skills, so we just got max in Empire. Well, that has changed, and instead of getting like 99.5, now you get, I think, I don't even know what it is. I haven't looked. It's like 70%, maybe 60%. It's terrible. So the refining prices have dropped, or refining percentages have dropped. Well, if you build one of the, let's see, where are we at? Market. If you get yourself, and we don't care about this for now, we'll come back to that. Let me copy it real quick just so we can get back to it. If you build, you can see refineries down here. There are two, the Athenor and the, am I saying that right? Athenor? Yeah. And the Tatara. Those are the two different ones. The Tatara, it runs about 8 billion, and the Athenor runs about 800 million. It's a little less than 800 million. So this one's the baby one, this is the big one, but you're going to notice the difference. Look at the stats here between these two is, well, I guess we can, do I not have it set up on this one? Son of a bitch. Why is it every single one of these uses, like every single character has its own setting like that? That annoys the absolute piss out of me. All right, so now we're good. All right, so look at the difference here. You've got a 2% bonus to refinery yield. You have a 4% bonus to refinery yield. 25% reduction, and the rest of the stuff is kind of meh. It doesn't really matter, but I mean, it does, but for us, it doesn't really matter. It's just basically how much it costs to run everything. And yes, I understand that it does matter in the long run, but I know it's not something I'm particularly concerned with. Now, this 2% versus 4% is a little bit misleading because I understand it's a multiplicative multiplier. So for instance, you've got something like, let's say your base refining skill is 50%, and this is a bonus of, let's say, +2. So for that one is +2%. Well, that is something that goes in parentheses, and then you're multiplying that times, like, let's say 0.5 for, this, and then you got like, plus multiply, and that's another set of parentheses, blah, 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 and then plus another, 0.8, et cetera, et cetera. And there's a big, that's an underscore, not a plus, but you get my idea. Anyways, this +2 right here greatly affects the rest of this because it's being multiplied and added on top of. So the difference between this and this, while it looks small, is a little bit bigger than it looks. I think it actually comes out to about 6 or 7%, maybe. But I've heard in high sec, it's about 79% is the best you can get with this guy. That being said, the return on investment here, you would have to do, somebody said it was like 30 billion or something like that. It's a lot. So we aren't going to go with one of these. Instead, we're going to go with several of these. Now, the reason we're going to go with several of these, I'll get into here in a bit. So anyways, the end product is we're going to set up some of these guys. in high sec. I'm also going to have some probably set up in 0. Sorry, I've got a real bad cough. Something's up on my lungs. They got a little pissy with me a couple weeks ago and just taking a while to heal up. Anyways, once we get into 0, it's going to change everything. But for for high sec, we need to be able to take advantage of it. And right now the corp's small. So, and by small, I mean it's literally just me. So I'm looking at acquiring a Hulk pilot or 2. Now, there's a couple different options when you want to acquire a pilot, so to speak. So let me get the camera up so you guys can see main monitor. Okay, so this right here is the character bazaar. I think I've done fucked it up. Can we get it? Can we get it to pull up? Hello? There it goes. Character bazaar. All right, so here is a place that you can actually buy and sell Eve characters. Now, keep in mind you're buying characters, not accounts. So you have to have an account that you're set up on, which is fine because you can just, RAF yourself one and you're good to go. But the issue that you run into when you buy these is 1, you don't get to name your character. 2, you don't get to pick the skills. So for instance, let's say we wanted to get a Hulk. So I've already done the searching. We want it set on latest post and see like right here, wish to sell a Hulk plus Tengu plus Blockade Runner, 14 million SP. Well, this account is going to be a lot more expensive. 14 billion starting bid, 9 bill, 10 bill. And they've got the 10 bill set up. It's going to be a lot more expensive than what we want because it's technically, according to EveMon, which I've got here. Let me pull this up so you guys can see it. This is the basic setup just to get high sec mining. Now, this also isn't accurate because we're going to want to get into, excuse me, we're also going to need ABC ores and things like that, I believe, because apparently some of that shoots out of some of these, the moon cracking, which I'm going to get into here in a bit. Holy fuck, we stop coughing. Sorry. But for the most part, Veldspar, Scordite, Pyro Xyz, Plagio class, those are the main ones. Kernite is also in there. Those are the big ones. Ombre and Jaspet, they can show up, but they're a little bit harder to find. So right here, this is a 5.3 million SP setup. That is about as close as we can get. And you can see it's right about 5 billion. So 5 billion, it seems to be that they're charging, at least for the Hulks, roughly 1 billion ISK per million SP. Let's see, here's another one, 6.5 million SP miner. How much did this one go for? About 5.5 billion ISK. So a little short of there. Okay, so how much is that going to cost us? Well, if we look over here, because we have 2 ways to go about this. Now that injectors are in game, we don't have to buy a pilot off of here. So you can see right here to get all of this, and obviously this isn't 100% max. I'd probably add the rest of the ABC ores and everything in so that we can go from 0 to hero right off the bat. We're looking at 3 million SP, right? That's 7 skill injectors. Now the key thing here is we're under 5 million SP, which means we don't lose the value. And what I mean by that in value is Control B, hit enter, search, large skill injector. All right, so hello, there we go. Characters less than 5 million will receive 500,000 allocated skill points. Between 5 and 50, receive 400,000. There's a diminishing return. So as long as we're under 5 million, we're Gucci. We're going to be getting as much puffing off of this as possible. All right, so how much is 739,000 times 10, or not 10, times 7, which is where we're at currently. Well, the cost of that I've already done in my little calculator before we got started. We're looking at 5.2 billion with a B ISK. So we're looking at spending almost the same amount of ISK. Now keep in mind, this guy's not going to have any supporting skills. There's going to be some of that I'm going to have to do. So, we round it up. Let's round it up to 6 billion ISK. 6 billion ISK seems to be about where we're at. Now, keep in mind, this is also not taking into account, let me get rid of that. It's not also taking into account the 250,000 unallocated skill points that I'm going to get just for raffing myself. Now, keep in mind, guys, if y'all want to play Eve, And play EVE Online. 250,000 skill points is half of an injector. That's worth about 425 million, 415 million skill ISK. And it will save you a decent amount of time. I don't know how much exactly 250,000 skill points at the alpha rate. Keep in mind, alphas earn skills at 50% of the rate as omegas. So I don't know how long 250,000 skill points takes to get. It depends on a lot of things like attributes and implants and alpha versus omega, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's a week or two of skill training, give or take. I know with back in the day when you were cooking, you could get 1 million SP a month, roughly, just training normally. Now that's with an omega account. So if that's true with implants, you're probably looking at 500K, but keep in mind this was like a decade ago. So, which is crazy because when you look at it, EVE came out, 2003? So that's 7 plus, it's a 15-year-old game. Jesus Christ. So, yeah. So anyways, the question is, do I want to spend 6 billion ESK and make my own characters, or do I want to buy them? And I'm really strongly leaning towards making them. Now, I have set it up to where I can get 2 of these accounts going. That means I'll need 12 billion ISK liquid. I think my main has a ridiculous amount of ISK. So what I will do, I already have the Rorqual set up. Not the Rorqual. Hang on. Let me get my other character set up real quick. All right. So what we're going to be doing, let's see, wow, these are all offline. Interesting. Yesterday, these were all online. I'm a little shocked because this is totally different than what I saw yesterday. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. I think this will show it. Okay. So you set up one of these Althanors and you crack the rocks or you crack the moon, and the moon then pulls everything off the moon and it floats in space. And there's a couple different timers on it. There's a 6-day timer, I believe, all the way up to 56-day timer. Now, obviously, the longer the time you wait, the bigger the chunk. And I think this is one of the ones. I happen to go to one of the ones that doesn't have a moon. So we'll go to a different one. I'm going to go to one of these ones that are offline. There it is. I must have been, it's engineering complexes that I was clicking on. Whoops. All right, this one right here, I think it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's a different structure. Anyways, these things basically make masteroid fields for you. Now, there's a whole different type of ores that come out of this. There we go. I can show you guys here. All right, look, wait for it, and look at. Okay, now this is a smaller chunk, but you can see the moon right there. It's gotten yanked out of. You can see we're just barely able to see it now. You can see all this stuff is being sucked up. And then once it gets there, or once it gets up there, it's going to crack this, and then all the ore is going to spill out, and then everybody can mine the ore. Now, it takes a period of time for this to, let's come back over here to my ship, which is not where I meant to go. Look at this thing. There we go. Perfect. You can see the big laser there is pulling that thing off. So this will pull it all the way. I don't know how close it gets, but it gets pretty close. And then it cracks it, and we'll mine off of this. So we're gonna use an Orca, and I want to get 2 Hulks going because, like I said, I'm a 0-man corp right now. It's just me. So as more of you guys decide to come online, maybe inevitably, then we will have more people, and we'll go from there. I do have like I was telling you guys earlier, I do have the Orca pilot ready to go. The Orca is actually locked up in here somewhere. Let's see. Yeah. Where is she? There she is, the surfboard. So she's good to go. And then Pyro's got all of the good mining director, mining foreman. We go with, where are the implants? Right there. We got the mining foreman mind link. And then we've got think that's it. Then there's what? Spaceship Command. Yeah. And we've got Industrial. Isn't it or Industrial? I believe. Yeah, or Industrial. So we're not quite capped, technically. We're at 4. So we could take this one up to 5. Well, I'll go ahead and add that to our queue. Right now I'm working on all of the processing, but we'll add that one down to go ahead and take it on up to 5. But yeah, either way, it's going to be a pretty significant bonus for everybody. Get everybody hooked up, and we'll probably start here on Larry, get going for a couple weeks, and we'll move on. Now this is one of the projects that I have going. Keep in mind, like I said, you got to have multiple projects. So this is the first project we've got. Wormholes and 0 are going to be the other 2 projects, but those are going to be a little postponed until we get this kind of going. I want to get a good, 10, 20 billion ISK a week income coming in, and then I'd like to get us out to some other ISK making opportunities. So if you I know, not like I said, not everybody's a miner, but if you would like to come do some mining, feel free to head on over, join the corp. Just look me up. You can join Pyro's Pyromaniacs. Look me up, join the corp, put a thing in, and we'll get you squared away. We will be doing our mining ops on the weekends, probably on Sundays. So depending on how profitable this is, we may end up setting up several of these so that we can do them throughout the week. Because keep in mind, like I said, if it's on a 6-day cooldown, imagine if it's on a 56-day cooldown. So in that instance, we'd probably have I don't know. What is it? What is 56 divided by 7? As I pull out the calculator. 56 divided by 7. We would need 8 of these to have one to do every weekend. So that's a good probably 10 billion S to get it going. Now keep in mind, that's just for the station. I don't know if the laser itself that rips it out of the moon requires a special array or something. That would add on. Plus, you got to keep the thing fueled so that it keeps running. And then I know if we move this to low sec and or 0, the refining rate increases based on the sector of space, or so I've been told. So we will eventually want to take this operation once we get rolling to 0. I'm also going to be setting up a mining application for us that I'm working on as a side project. Some of you guys that follow me on Twitter all know about my 100 Days of Code challenge I'm doing. That program's nowhere near ready yet, but eventually it will be ready. And what I'll do is I'll offer hauling and I'll offer refining services for you at a percentage. And you guys will basically, if you just mine, I'll keep track of what you mine. You'll make your ISK at the end of the op or at the end of the week or whatever. And then I'll take care of everything else. That's not exactly a huge benefit in high sec, but it is a massive benefit once we get out to 0, because you're not going to want to run your ores all the way back to Empire every week. So, but anyways, guys, if you have any questions, you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I feel like I just rambled on a little bit, but I do want to show you guys some of this stuff. I'll once we get this going, I'll show you guys how to set up the what do you call it, the Athenor. I'll show you how to do the moon cracking, and we'll kind of go from there. So, but do want to thank all of you guys for watching. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next clip.